Hydrated, so mind changing. Hydrated, why you
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Chair Sessions with Dr. D. On the line with us today is a lovely and talented young vocalist and songwriter from New York State. Her name is Smittie, and today she's going to tell us about how she is soothing souls through sound and love with her music and with her performances. I first saw Smittie perform at a karaoke showcase aboard a recent cruise that we were both on. She captivated the crowd with a classic cover of Etta James' At Last, and from the first note, I knew right away that this was not her first rodeo. After the performance, we started talking more, and here we are a month later. Welcome aboard, Smittie.
Thank you very much, Darren, for having me. I'm so glad we get to finally do this because we were chatting about this all those weeks ago. And so it's awesome to finally get to talk to you again. And I'm very delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. And it was so hard when we were talking after your performance, and even the next night when we went to go see some other artists performing in one of the rooms. It was hard not to just keep going on and on about the music, because I didn't want to I wanted to leave it for the podcast. So,
Right.
Yeah,
right.
so that was the hardest part. So let's start from the very beginning for our listeners. I'd like you to talk about how the whole musical journey started for you.
Okay, so it started way before I started actually releasing music in June of 2020. I've been a singer, a songbird, a writer my whole life. And ever since I was little, I remember I used to love Disney Channel. I used to love Hannah Montana and That's So Raven and the Cheetah Girls. And I wanted to be like them. And I would write my own songs when I was 7. And my dad always tells this little anecdote of he's also a songwriter. So when I was younger, I brought him a song. And when he used to record his songs back in the day, he would record on a little tape. And I brought him a song that I wanted to record on one of his tapes. And he was like, "Oh, sweetie, who wrote this song?" And I was like, "I wrote it, Dad." And he was like, No, you're singing it, but who wrote it? I was like, "Me, I wrote it." And he literally thought somebody else wrote it. He thought I just took the lyrics of a Hannah Montana song and wrote it. But I was like, "No, this is my song."
Wow.
I'm a certified songwriter at the age of 7. So I've been writing well before I could remember. And I've always enjoyed creative writing and stuff like that. So I've also been into a lot of different things throughout school and stuff. I was very much an athlete. I very much enjoyed school and math and stuff like that. So although I've always enjoyed music and I was in band, I played the trumpet and stuff like that, I think I was kind of nervous or scared to really get into singing how I really wanted to. So after college, when the pandemic happened, I was supposed to actually go teach abroad in Spain for a year, but then the pandemic changed everything. And I was finally, I might as well try to pursue this music thing that I wanted to do my whole life. Like I said, this was in 2020. So instead of going and traveling abroad, I decided to, you know what, let me just try doing this music. It was my senior year of college. I was I'm about to have to start doing all these adult things. So I might as well try before I really have to get sucked into all of that. So yeah, lo and behold, I finally.
Wow. So the pandemic, for a lot of us, it left a lot of time to reflect upon, I guess, our priorities and what we want to do when we grow up, which of course we know is so overrated. But
Seriously.
there's a lot in what you just told me. Let's start with your dad. You said your dad was a songwriter. How did you learn from him? Did you learn songwriting from him, or?
I don't think I really learned from him. Maybe not consciously, but I think more so on the genetic level. Because I swear, especially in my family, a lot of music, a lot of singers in my family, and just the knack for writing and using words to express and taking rhythm and using words and putting them together to make something that's great to listen to. I don't think I sat down with him and said, "Dad, how do I write?" I kind of just listened to all the things around me and was observant of my influences and then tried to just recreate that on my own. And
That's
he still does music and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely got like the creative gene. He
the
definitely
creative
passed that
force.
down. Yeah,
The creative
for
force
sure.
was is in the family. It's in
They're
the
very
genes.
strong. Yeah.
So as far as like the songwriting goes, like he wasn't crafting songs, with you or around you. You didn't have any idea of the process that he was going through with them. You just knew that he was creating songs. Is that right?
Yeah, and like I like I said, I saw, and this was like early 2000s, so I would see him take not a VHS tape, but like those little tapes, the tape recorder. He would put the tape recorder in, and then he would record any song that like he got, like if he was sleeping and he got a song in his dream, or he wanted to just take a little voice note and write it down.
The
That's how
micro
he would
cassette
write it down.
recorder.
Yes, with the little cassette recorder. Yes, so
Yeah,
very early 2000s
I've got one of
vibes.
those.
Yeah, and actually, it was really cool because a couple years ago, he found a tape with young me on it. And I was like, my name is Sarah, and I'm going to be a songwriter. And this is a song I wrote. And so I like record the song just how he would do. So I would see him do that. And so I decided that's when I took my song to him. And I got a chance to record just how he would record. So he definitely showed me that. And just the nature of writing down, if I get like a little song in my mind, or I get like a little beat or a bunch of words, taking the moment to just write it down in the spot, because as fast as it comes, sometimes it will leave my mind as well. So
Oh
he
yeah.
definitely taught me about, if you get something that is catchy or you like, just take a moment to just record it and take note of it. So now I do it on my
Oh,
phone. I
of
have like
course.
notes app. So
I was just going to
that's
say, you're
helpful.
probably not using a micro cassette
Yeah,
recorder. I don't
no,
even know if they make
not
them.
anymore. Not anymore.
But yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. When those flashes come, ooh, sometimes they come so fast you just have to get them. You got to record them, write them
Exactly.
down if you don't have access to the recorder. But it's nice with the phones because you can, you can record them right away. I've literally pulled my car over side of the road when I'm driving on a highway to get flashes down that come to me because I
Yeah.
like to songwrite myself. But and then you said that your dad was kind of surprised when you showed him or allowed him to listen to the song. He was surprised that you wrote it. So did he not know that you were writing?
Yeah, I don't think I think I guess the, maybe, I don't want to say complexity, but just the nature of what I was writing about, maybe it seemed a little advanced for my age at the time.
Right on.
So yeah, like he was like, "Oh, this is well written, like, the cadence, the rhyming schemes and all that stuff."
Hmm.
Like he was impressed with, like, I don't know, maybe I was like 7 or 8, and he was like, "Wow, like you're this young and you're able to create and format a song this sophisticated." So he was impressed by that. He literally didn't believe that it was my own song. He thought like I just took like Hannah Montana lyrics and just wrote them down in my book or something. But I was
Wow.
like, no, this is me, Dad.
He listened to it and thought, "Wow, I've got an old soul here
Yeah,
who
yeah.
also has all the skills to craft what is being channeled through you."
Um, I like I said, I feel like my whole family, like all of us, are super into music. My brother, he's helped me. He's also like a musician. And even when we were younger, like my dad was also very adamant about all of us taking like band and learning how to read music and stuff like that. Even if we didn't necessarily want to
Hmm.
be in band, he was like, nah, you got to do this. It's important to know how to do these things. So even if we weren't already naturally showing the knack for wanting to create music and stuff, he was like, no, you all need to at least put in your little stint of learning how to read music and just be around music, which I'm very grateful for, because learning how to like read and knowing all those things that apply to music, it's very helpful for just creating music and stuff.
So you had that really early on, and like you said, going back to the story that you just told, you were 6 or 7 years old. Is that right?
Yeah, he said that when I was 7 when I brought him my first song, but then that clip that he showed me, I think I was a little bit older.
Okay.
I think I was like, it was like 2008. So I was like maybe almost, I was like 9 or so.
Mm.
So I was, he was doing all the cassette stuff back in the day. That was like his tried and true method. So I'm pretty sure there's more of those recordings, but a thing that would happen, with the cassettes, recording over it or something getting recorded over. I believe that was part of the play of using those cassettes. So
Right.
I don't think everything was kept, but he found one of those cassettes a couple years ago, and it was so cool because I finally got to listen to myself
That's so
from
cool.
back in the day. And when I would write, especially when I was younger, I would always date everything that I wrote because I knew it would be cool to go back. Like future Sarah would appreciate
Sure.
knowing how long ago I was doing that. So in the little cassette, I'm like, it's April of 2008, and this is my song I wrote, and it's about like believing in yourself.
So you've got some
And that's
great,
so
you've got
funny.
some great archives.
Yeah, for sure.
You also talked about how your father encouraged you to do the academic part of music, which you followed through with. So you got that in school, right?
Yes, and it was great. I mostly did bands, so the way my schedule was set up, I didn't even really get to join choir until like my sophomore year because of my schedule. I didn't have room to do band and choir. So I played trumpet from like elementary school all the way up to high school. And then after that, like, and when I was in band in middle school, I was in the jazz band. I was like one of the younger students in the older band. I did like the New York State, the tri-state bands, the New York State bands where you had to like audition for those and get rated. And if
Nice.
you scored high enough, then you would be able to like participate in like the statewide or the county-wide bands and stuff like that. So I did all of those things, and I very much loved jazz. Like, and we've already talked about this, but like a lot of jazz influence, and I very much enjoyed jazz as a trumpet player. And then when I finally got to my sophomore year of high school, I joined the regular choir, and then my last 2 years, I auditioned for like the upper choirs, and I got into those choirs. So that was fun. But learning how to like read notes on a scale and stuff, like I didn't even realize how a lot of you don't even realize that it's such a valuable tool when you're in it. Because I was reading music since I was like 10, since I started trumpet in 5th grade.
Wow.
So it was really good to have that knowledge.
When did you realize that you had a voice that can produce music or sounds that you want to share?
I think, and I don't think I ever really believed in my own vocal ability. Like I always had the desire to sing, but I was always so self-doubting of it. And I remember when I tried out for the upper choirs, I scored the highest on the test that you had to do for the vocal auditions. And when I was in upper choir, I like would audition for solos and stuff. But my music teachers would be like, "You have a beautiful voice. You need to like project," because I would sing, but I would sing like a little mouse. And so I, like everyone else around me would express how they really enjoyed my voice and stuff like that. And I don't think I really like took on this like confidence in my vocal abilities until I started really releasing music and stuff like that, because I knew I could hold a note. Like when I was in college, I would go to like karaoke nights and I would go to open mic nights, and people would be like, "Yeah, you have a great voice," but there was still like a aspect of a certain tension. Like I literally stored it in my mind and in my spirit, and it would translate into my vocal cords, like the tension. So I was not belting, and I wasn't like really exuding this certain confidence with my voice until like I really started pursuing music.
You weren't letting it flow.
Yeah, I was not I was holding back more than I was letting it go, for sure.
So it sounds like you gradually got some really positive reinforcement over time. And then did you have a aha moment where you were like, "Okay, I'm ready to let this loose"?
Actually, yeah, because my senior year of college before the pandemic, I was also a really big athlete. Like I wouldn't say I didn't identify with music. Like I've always loved music and appreciated it, but people knew me for my sports, and people didn't really know me as somebody that like sang. And before my senior year of college, I was like, this is like my final year of college. I might as well like try to be a little bit more expressive with it. So before school started, since I was a fall athlete, I had to go to school before everybody else got there. And one of the nights I just went to Main Street, like in my college town, and I just went to all the local spots. And I was like, is there anywhere that I could sing just for fun? And the first place I entered, the Renegade Winery, shout out to them. They were like, oh, actually, yeah, we have open mic night tonight. So I went in there, and then I was like, oh, shoot, great. And then I went back home, I changed, and then I came back that night. And there was like three people in the crowd, but I sang, and the 2 people in the crowd absolutely loved it. And I was just like, wow, it was so much fun. And that was like one of the first memories I have of just not being so tense with my voice. Yeah. And I'm very glad there was only a couple people in the crowd, but part of me wanted to like be well known, but a bigger part of me was just so scared of what people might think about my voice and stuff. So I just went, and I was like, let me just sing like nobody's watching, and that's what I did.
There you go. It sounds like the universe handed you the perfect environment for you to open up that channel, and you were able to do it. And then from there, it probably was a big stepping stone for you, brought you to the next level, I'm sure. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually that winery that I performed at, the amount of networking I did, like I met so many awesome musicians, and then like, you know how it works, like you meet one person, they invite you somewhere, and then you meet more people at that place they invited you to. So that was the only open mic night I knew about in the area, but after months of going there, I would meet other musicians. They would tell me about other open mic nights and stuff like that. So it was so nice to not only put in the time and the work of meeting other artists and stuff, but how that network just naturally grows when you put yourself out there. It was a great opportunity to get invited to other places and stuff like that. Other artists that then helped me in the future with producing my music and stuff. That's exactly how I met them.
Very cool. So you really expanded your network. That's how like that next layer came. After you felt that confidence, you kind of put yourself out there. You let the voice go, and the network started expanding.
Exactly.
And we're gonna get into your EPs definitely, and the music that you have released so far. But before we get up to that, so let's talk a little bit about what were your influences. What were was a lot of music played in your house?
I don't even think that much music necessarily was played. Like my parents didn't like to listen to a lot of music. I'm firstborn in the States, so my parents are Jamaican, and they came to the States, and then all of my siblings and I were born here. But I think most of the music, and I'm being so serious, like Disney Channel with, like I said, Hannah Montana and the Cheetah Girls, like the way that to this day, Cheetah Girls 2 is still one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's great.
But when I go back and watch those movies, even like today, I'm listening to it with such a more like observant mind, and I understand why like 7-year-old Sarah was so obsessed with the music, because like the production value
of course
of the music is so good, and like the lyrics, just the nature of how that music was produced. Like I very much loved all of those little like musical movies and shows.
What a great model
on Disney Channel. Yeah, like a lot of good stuff.
And that's not even touching upon just the vibe of a lot of those songs.
Yeah,
beyond
exactly.
The production, like the vibe. The whole Disney vibe. How did your influences expand from Disney?
I'd say,
when I saw you doing the Etta James classic, I was like, wow, this is really cool. How did it grow from the Disney into some of the jazz or some of the other classic artists?
So I'd say especially with like when I started band and I was in jazz band and stuff, a lot of I really enjoy a lot of like just the nature of how like jazz and all these old timey sounds are when I was in band and stuff, I don't think I was consciously like, wow, this is a great song, or I like this type of music. I just always would show up to it, and I would always be willing and focused on it because of how it just naturally gelled with my mind. Like, my mind just very much appreciated the syncopation and the nature of like all those different types of notes, the difference between the dissonance and the resonance, and how they would like just gel out and everything would work itself out. And just the nature of jazz, I feel like I very much relate to jazz, just the way that it's so perfectly chaotic. I think
Yeah, you know, that's
great way to
which is
explain.
that the improvisation of it, the way it just kind of
exactly,
flows.
the improvisation, exactly, the flow of it. And of course, every genre has its ability to flow, but something about jazz specifically where it allows room for structure, but it also allows so much room for you to be off of beat and for you to not have to be perfect. And I think that's something big too, because like I very much appreciate like the talent that I have, but when it comes to like rehearsing and when I do perform live, I appreciate all the accompanists that I've performed with, because they have a really strong background in like music theory and stuff, and they're so accommodating, because every time I perform a song, I'm doing something completely different every time.
Wow.
So their ability to just follow and help me do what I'm doing and accompany me so well while still being able to like have the structure of, okay, we're playing at last, but I'm going to do a run here this time, and I didn't do it last time. I'm going to hold this note this time. And just like the way there's so much room to change it up while still being able to keep that same essence. I very much love that about jazz.
That's a really cool thing to, you know, and I love when I hear, you know, young people talking about appreciating that. Because I think sometimes, you know, that I think that part, the dissonance, and I think that is underappreciated at times. And, you know, some really great magic can happen when you just open up to that flow. And it sounds like your receptivity, your openness to that is what kind of, again, brought you to another layer in your own development as an artist, as a vocalist, musician, I'll say too. So do you have a band that you regularly work with?
I don't necessarily have a band that I regularly work with. I think like one of the people that I've met through just networking with other musicians, one time I needed a saxophonist, and so a mutual friend put me on to him. So after he listened to my music, he was like, wow, I really like your music. I was thinking we could just get a couple musicians together and I could go around to local places and ask them if they're willing to like allow us to play. So he actually did that, and we played at a couple places. But I don't have like a set band that I play with. I just have like musicians that I'm like, hey, are you available to help me out this day? And if so, then like, let's do this. And then my brother, he's a busy bee, but also he's big into music. He plays like umpteen different instruments as well and stuff. So if he's able to help out, like I'll just ask him to play with us and stuff like that. But I don't have like a set amount of musicians that I play with, which is it's like I said, like I think a thing about bands, it would be awesome to play with a band, but I very much like when there's just like one or two other musicians that I'm playing with, because I don't have to be so
rigid.
Yeah, rigid
Structured?
with like, okay, this is how we practice it, so this is how we're gonna perform it. Like when I just have one keyboardist, like I can like, all right, go off and do a solo, and then I'll go back and do some scatting and stuff like that. So,
yeah, cool. So you've got a lot of flexibility, because it's kind of like you'll jam with who's ever available, maybe whoever might be into a certain, you know, who's ever available that night, or when you are jamming, or who's ever maybe into a certain piece that you might want to perform, or something like that.
So we have songs that we perform, but it's like we kind of do them a little bit different every time we perform them.
Keeping it fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And the crowd always appreciates it.
And so now that you're performing, where do you draw your interests in what kind of, what music you want to perform? Is there a genre that you feel like you are kind of attached to or right now, or?
I very much love, in addition to jazz, I'd say like soul and funk. Like Stevie Wonder is probably one of my all-time favorite artists, and he is like the epitome to me anyways. Like every time I go back and listen to a song that I listened to 100 times, I feel like I'm hearing something that I didn't hear before. And I appreciate his genius when it comes to using sound. Like it's really so fascinating to me how sounds can be so like moving, and just the nature. I didn't even realize until like I really did research on him how, first of all, how young he was when he started in the music industry, and then also how many instruments he played. Like I know he played piano, but I saw like this clip of him going crazy on the drums when he was like 16 or something. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that he did so many of the sounds that you hear in the song. It's like he did it. And so Stevie Wonder's a big one at the top.
And his catalog, of course, is huge.
Yeah, it's absolutely insanely huge. Like there's still albums that I still have yet to listen to all his albums, but Songs in the Key of Life, I always go back to that album. That's probably my favorite album of his. And Inner Vision, that one's really nice too.
Two classics.
A lot of stuff, two real classics. And a lot of like just things from like the 70s. I've been getting more into like even other folks from like the 70s and the 60s and stuff, like the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind and Fire. A lot of I've been recently listening like Sarah Vaughan. She has a beautiful, I love Sarah Vaughan's voice, and Nina Simone. Not only like Nina's voice, but also like the integrity and just the mission that she used music for, like going beyond just using music as a means for entertaining people, but really like empowering people. Like it's really impressive. I'm very impressed by how these artists, especially like all these Black artists, they really took the time to create and then use that creation to like insert a message, which you can do it for better or for worse. And
amen. Right.
The industry does it in many different ways, but just using the music to be intentional and uplifting in some type of way. That's really amazing to me. That's
your interest in how you are using music to soothe the soul. It sounds like you've got some great models that have served as models of using empowerment in their music. And so tell me a little bit more about what some of your other influences in that respect are, and how you want to resonate that.
Yeah, I'd say like I said, like there was a clip from I forget what it was called, but I did not even realize that this was a festival that was had until the pandemic, when the drummer from The Roots, I forget his name at the moment, it's escaping my mind, but he produced I think you know who I'm talking about, right?
I can't think of his name either.
He has a epic afro, but he produced a documentary about a festival that was had in New York the same year as Woodstock, and everybody knows about Woodstock. Like I live right near Woodstock, but everybody knows about Woodstock, but nobody knew about this festival that was held. It was I think it was in Harlem, predominantly Black artists and predominantly Black crowd. Same exact year as Woodstock, and it was more popular than Woodstock. But like I said, I never even heard about this festival until this documentary came out. And there's just this clip of Nina playing, and she's just so powerful, and she's like asking the crowd, like, "Are you ready?" or something of that means. But like
she's intense.
Yeah, she really is.
She is intense.
And, like,
yeah, definitely.
Very, very intense. And just that nature of like her being unapologetically herself. I appreciate that, because I think, like I was kind of saying before, just that nature of being so at the mercy of what other people are telling me about my music. and me being so responsive to what other people say, but like me digging deep and listening to my own intuition and listening to my own voice about what I know to be true and stuff like that. Like I'm still very much in that process of just really trusting my own instinct. And I think I do that well when it comes to music and when it comes to, should I go hit this note? Should I use this creativity? And should I produce the song in this way? But just like outside of that, it's especially in this day and age where it's so easy to be inundated with other people's opinions.
Right on. Yeah.
Just listening to my own stuff.
Yeah. And
It's
listening.
easier said than done.
Absolutely. And listening to your own voice, your own inner voice. And it's great that you have those models that have kind of led you to an appreciation for that. And so do you feel like that is now kind of coming into your songwriting?
Yeah. And I think even like, if I'm being completely honest, I feel like my pen was ahead of my own like
Thoughts?
soul, like where like I can write about something that sounds empowering, but do I truly live it? Do I truly embody it? Like being, it's cool and it sounds nice. It's one thing for like words to sound nice and like to be like, yeah, you got this, like you're beautiful, but like to truly embody that and to truly believe that, it's easier said than done. It's easier written than
absolutely. You can channel it maybe almost magically as it's, being channeled through you, through the creative forces. I always say the creative forces they are spiritual forces, when those forces start surging and your pen, your pencil almost kind of can take on a life of its own. The words are just flowing out. They're flowing onto paper or they're flowing into a recorder. But like you said, then, so they're written or they're recorded. And then it's like, okay, now what? Well, the next level is probably sounds like what you're learning is you're learning to say, wow, this is something worthwhile. This is my truth. And not only is it my truth, but it's something that's worth sharing. Yeah.
And I very much have like been grateful to past me, because the songs that I've written in the past, those messages, like at moments listening to those messages after I've already released the music, I was like, wow, I really needed to hear this at this point in time. And it's been very, like, there's actually for my music video, I shot a music video for one of my songs called Hydrated. And one of the days, like, it was just a rough day of shooting. And I listened to one of my songs from my EP and I just started bawling my eyes out. I was like, wow, I really needed to hear that. Like, it was really important. Sometimes, the song is called Sometimes, and it's just about like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to like just take a deep breath, relax, and like step away from the hustle and bustle of the world, because this world is literally like designed to keep you distracted, designed to keep you on the go all the time. And it almost feels like taking a moment for yourself is like not okay. Yeah. And so just listening, like, it's okay. Even if things suck right now, this too shall pass.
Amen.
And so,
and you're learning the appreciation for, like you said, taking the pause. I mean, we kind of learned the pause during COVID. We all were like forced to take a major pause, but I think that it sets us up to see the importance of, the pauses that come after that. And sometimes they're, they don't have to be that intense and that long and dramatic as COVID. They could just be a daily pause. Like we're having like you said, we're having a rough day and you just need to step back, take a deep breath. And it sounds like in that circumstance, the universe kind of gave you what you needed. I call it synchronicity.
Yeah, exactly. Synchronicity. I say there's no such thing as coincidence. Like, coincidence is a coincidence. Two things resonate. It's resonance rather than just two random things happening at the same time.
So I use, it's funny because I use the same thing. There is no coincidence. It's all synchronicity. That's really cool. So and I think that's, again, part of being open to the flow. Going with the flow. Going with the flow. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for all the flow that I go with when it comes to music, especially, there's still like this aspect of my mind and my way of being where sometimes I need to like control things, and I need to like my ability to let go is the very thing that inhibits me from allowing the flow to properly do what it's got to do.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
totally
like,
get it. Yeah. Sometimes those very things that allow us to do great things can also be the biggest weight that kind of holds us back. So it's that's the irony of it. Like even like overthinking or not sometimes we want to hold on to something, grasp it. We keep going with it to the point where we knock ourselves out. Sometimes it's like beating a dead horse, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then it's like a drive that can drive you, literally drive you crazy. A drive that can,
quite literally.
yeah, the creative forces can kind of, they can drive us to insanity. I know for myself, when I get too carried away with something and I feel myself not sleep, I don't want to sleep. I want to write. I want to finish this song all hours of the night. But hey, I also have a 9 to 5 in the morning. I have to get to. So yeah, and to be able to take a step back and knowing when to do that.
Knowing when to just breathe and say, okay, like I would get so focused on the end result that I don't even respect the process and the patience required for the process to come out as beautifully as it possibly could, because I'm just so hell bent on just having what I want, and it's like, it's not about what you want, girl.
Well, you've got a great start in the internal things and I think that having it's like a discipline, you have a good discipline. We all need discipline sometimes. And like you said, sometimes we need to just cut it loose. So I think that the discernment and the wisdom comes in kind of knowing when to let it loose and when to batten down the hatches and have that structure.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that. And it's funny because I feel like discipline is one of the biggest things that I'm very much working on. And for all the quote unquote discipline that I have, I'm still at like the tip of the iceberg in terms of what I need to do, because it's almost been like a catch-22 where I'm blessed and I feel so fortunate to have like certain natural
gifts,
predispositions and gifts, to be able to succeed at like things in like this world. Like I didn't have to study, but then I could still get a good grade. And like, I remember when I would like be playing trumpet, I wouldn't go home and do my practice, but then I would come to the lesson and I would still do great because I just would finesse it really well. But that same willingness to not put in the time and not put in the focus, it like then backfires, because when it comes to things that I don't have that natural like inclination to, then I'm just like, I don't want to even deal with this because it's not for me. And it's like, no, you need this, but you're just so used to things being 1, 2, 3 that like it then backfires. And I actually been doing, my grandmother has been teaching me how to sew for these last couple of years. And that's been like a huge thing, like with patience and being willing to start over. Like dressmaking is not a convenient thing. It does not happen in the blink of an eye. But I remember when I first started, I would like when I first tried to like make something on my own, I tried skipping all these steps. I tried ignoring all these steps. And I brought it to my grandma and I was like, okay, Grandma, I'm ready for the finishing touches. And I left the dress with her and she called me on the phone. She was like, girl, I had to rip this whole thing apart. You did everything wrong.
So you got kind of focused on the end results and lost sight of the process.
Exactly. So that's been like something super, like, if you want it done well, you have to realize what's necessary and there's no circumventing it, which I was like, how do I get to this goal without, being uncomfortable? And it's like, it's not going to happen. And so just like using discernment and discipline, like it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot easier said than done.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
It's very much a process that I'm still in the midst of really embodying, but little by little.
You're preaching to the choir here. I'm kind of still learning the same thing, and I'm 58. But there's the universe has always given us something to kind of test us, or to test our discipline, test our patience, and if we're willing to kind of listen to the universe, we kind of learn what we need to learn. And it sounds like you've got a really head start on being able to practice that and do it, which is, it's fantastic. I love hearing about it.
Thanks. And it's funny because when I speak to people, they always say, "Oh, you're such a baby. You have your whole life ahead." And I'm like, no, there's so many things that I feel like I should already know. But it's like, no, this is the learning. This is what you're here for.
Love it.
This is God's plan. Yeah.
Love it. Yep. There's a master plan, and you're opening and listening to it, and making and carrying it out, making it happen. So let's talk about your music, your EPs. You've got a few EPs out. Let's talk about what you've got out so far.
So actually, I released both of my EPs. The first one was called Summer Solstice, and I released it on the summer solstice of June of 2020. So that was the year during the pandemic where I released my EP, and it was my first EP. I absolutely loved working on that. I learned so much too, because when I started, so firstly, I wanted to produce all the songs myself, but after producing one of the songs and realizing how expensive it was, I was like, oh, maybe we can't afford to do all the songs like this. So I started going on YouTube, and I found this YouTube page that just made a lot of beats that I just really liked. So I leased the beats, and I found the beats, I leased them, and then that's just the nature of the contract that I have with those songs. My first single, I released 𝘅𝑗𝑗, which I still perform at all the live shows that I do. 𝘅𝑗𝑗, she's tried and true. She's a baddie.
Nice.
I love that song. It's a great song. And I was so fortunate and grateful to learn a lot as a musician. And when I first started music, that was a big thing that I realized, it's cool to have other people help you with music, but it's a lot. It takes longer in the long run, learning how to produce music yourself, learning how to do all those things yourself. Although the result is not as quick, it will definitely help in the long run. And I'm still very much I still need help when it comes to producing and engineering and stuff like that. Sure. No doubt about it.
Yep.
But trying to be a little bit more self-sufficient in it. I've dipped my toe in that, and then I actually released my second EP called Reminders in December of 2020. And that one, it literally just was reminders to myself and to whoever was listening about certain things. So that's where sometimes. That song about sometimes it's okay to not be okay. Hydrated, that's one of my most popular songs, and that's the song I made a music video for, Hydrated. It's important to stay hydrated, not only physically, but mentally, spiritually, and stuff like that.
Amen. Yep.
So I made those two projects, and I actually, like I said, I made them in the same year. And I think just the vigor and just the energy I had at the beginning of my music career, I was I'm going to just drop a couple songs and then I'm going to blow up. And I'm honestly so glad that's not what happened, because all the necessary things that are required in order to just be self-sufficient, independent artistry, you're your own everything. And so, especially when I did research into this, the music industry, and it has a very exploitative and very just it has a very I feel a maleficent undertone where if you don't know what's going on, if you don't understand what's going on, people will just take advantage of you and your talent, and then they'll leave you in the dust. And I did research, I saw all these household names, Prince, TLC, even Taylor Swift, all these people that are worldwide renowned, they're still fighting, they're still out here being treated in such a way by these labels and all these characters in the music industry. And so I'm grateful to God that I was not just flung into it in the way that I thought I wanted to be, because Like if
Well,
I don't know, then it could be dangerous.
yeah, yeah. So again, I think you're allowing this natural process to give you the lessons that you really need that are
Right.
especially the ones that you mentioned. They're protective. They're gonna protect you, and I
Exactly.
think it's a great thing, for you to have to have an early start on that, especially as you're building your music career.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned a little bit, what's the vibe like on those? Is the vibe on the two EPs pretty much the same? I mean, can you describe that for our
Yeah,
listeners?
so they're very like I'd say very like neo soul R&B,
Nice.
a little funky.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's got like a little soulful vibe to the music, I'd say. Like I said, like Stevie Wonder, Etta James, like a little bit. I think most of my songs that I've released myself, they're not as jazzy,
Hmm.
but especially I like to say I jazzify, especially when I perform live. I'll
Oh,
just
definitely.
jazzify literally any and everything that I sing.
Cool.
So a very like neo soul R&B um vibe like that, where it's like maybe not necessarily even upbeat, but very like chill, very like energetic and bright energy, I'd
Nice.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, and from the first moment that I saw you perform on the cruise ship, that's the vibe. That's your performance vibe that you resonated. I mean, beyond
Mm,
the actual sound that came out of
yeah.
your vocal cords and out of your
Yeah.
soul, the whole performance too just resonated that. So it sounds like you're integrating it all together into this force. You've got these two EPs out. So just say the names again so people can find them on
So
Spotify.
summer solstice is summer spelled regular and then solstice SOULSTICE.
Nice.
And then reminders is just spelled how you spell the word reminders. And then you can find all of my music on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you listen to music, Smittie, SMITTIE. And then since then I've been releasing a lot of like singles and stuff. I've been featured with a couple artists that are friends and stuff like that. So I haven't had like any more full on projects that are multiple tracked, but
Okay.
I've been releasing singles here and there too since I released my two EPs.
Nice. Is your goal to put out an album?
I would very much would like to do an album. Actually, this year, 2025, I'd say it's the least. I have been doing live performances here and there, but I have not been like in the studio as much. I've kind of been slowing down with producing music and kind of picking up on uh sewing with my grandma. Like
Okay.
my
Hmm.
grandmother,
Yeah.
she's been a dressmaker for over 70 years and it's been great because she's been wanting to pass this down to somebody in the family. And I've always loved fashion as well. That's like another creative outlet that I've loved with along with music. So the last couple of years I've been really like being her little apprentice and
Nice.
learning and like I'm always gonna have music, but her being here on this realm,
Mm.
um,
It,
I've just been trying to get as much knowledge from her as
yeah.
I can while she's still here to teach me. So I've been doing a lot of like sewing and fashion and stuff lately, and I very much would love to in the future integrate my music and my love for fashion and sewing in some way. And I very much look forward to that. And I've also just been doing research into like sync licensing, which I didn't even really
Mm.
know about until I was like doing all these performances. And I'm like, wow, there's not much, not that I'm doing it for the money. Like I very much have, like I have a 9 to 5. So
Hmm.
music is not what pays my bills now, but I think it'd be cool to like get into sync licensing as well.
Nice.
And I've been dabbling with that stuff too. So that's where I've been also just directing my attention in terms of researching and understanding how that whole realm works and stuff like that. But I very much would absolutely love to make an album. I've like the pen doesn't stop just because I'm not in the
Right. Right.
studio and stuff. So I
Right.
have stuff written down and I have themes that I kind of want to play into. So in the future, I very much would love to do a full on album when I can afford it, money
Awesome.
wise and time wise.
So, are you still performing in your
Yeah,
area?
so I'll do like a live show here and there.
Okay.
the saxophonist that I mentioned before, sometimes he'll hit me up and be like, "Oh, this location they wanted us to perform," or somebody will approach me about wanting to a performance, so I'll hit others up about wanting to perform. So here and there, but I haven't been actively like sending stuff to locations looking to book gigs and stuff like that.
Yep.
So anytime I do perform, I'll post it a little bit on like my social media to let people know. But this is probably the least busy year I've had with live performances, doing festivals and stuff like that. I haven't really been doing that much this year, but the singing bug definitely doesn't leave. So I have to get it out somehow.
I'm sure it doesn't.
Every so often. Yeah.
Well, Smittie, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about your insights. I mean, a lot of insights, insights beyond your years, I'm sure. I want to thank you for sharing them all with us and for sharing your music with us.
Thank you.
And I hope people will go and check out your music and check out the vibe that you're resonating. It's all fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Darren. I'm so appreciative, and thank you so much for approaching me that day on the cruise. Like, it's so much fun every time I go on a cruise. I'm always singing. So the last time I was on a cruise, there was like a little serendipitous moment I had, and so you were the serendipitous moment on this cruise this time.
Thank you.
So it was awesome. Very appreciative.
Thank you so
much. And thank you to anybody that goes to listen to my music. I'm very appreciative. Please feel free to share, message me. I love the feedback from people, and I love connecting with people through the music. So I'm very grateful. Thank you.